Hello, back for another toy review, and this time we're going to be taking a look at yet another Spawn figure this time. Yes, today we're going to be taking a look at the Spawn Series 34 Spawn Classics Pirate Spawn 2, released by McFarlane Toys. Now, when it comes to Spawn and the many different incarnations he's had over the years, Spawn has been in many different forms. He's had his Gunslinger form, which is most popular, his Samurai form, which I get the feeling doesn't get much amount of attention as it should, and his Manga form, which is kind of weird, but still pretty good, his Viking form, which I like a lot and I still don't own, sadly, and his Pirate form, which is one of those forms that doesn't get enough attention, and it just looks really, really cool. Now, the Pirate Spawn, of course, if you're aware of the Pirate Spawn, you'd be familiar with the alternate realities Pirate Spawn, which look like your basic crew member. Instead, this time he's a sea captain. He's a really badass, swashbuckling sea captain, and that's one thing you want to make sure of is every time Spawn gets an incarnation in a different look, you want to make sure he looks as badass as possible, and this is one of those badass forms. It looks really, really good, and it just goes to show how well put together and how well designed this figure is, as well sculpted and detailed. And when it comes to the detail is very good. Now, once again, of course, I'm going to ramble on about the detail like I always do whenever I review a toy, so let's get that out of the way now. The detail on this figure is very, very well done. All over the toy you can see so much detail on the chest, on the legs, on the arms, and even on the face as well. The figure itself is very, very good. You can see just how much great molding was put into this. All on the coat, you'll see at the bottom little symbols right there, which is very nice on the gold. And of course the coat is made of this very firm, hard plastic which doesn't move. It's molded so sadly that it can't move. Of course on the chest you can see the ripped shirt revealing the blue rotting flesh right there. And on the head you'll see, of course, Spawn's green eyes with his really nice bandana as well. The only thing is, though, is that this part of the bandana is quite brittle, so be very careful when moving that around. And of course on the arms, great molded detail, a little bit of creasing right there. And of course right here on the scabbard you'll see some skulls right there. And I don't really know what this is supposed to be. I think this is supposed to be a pipe or a horn. It might be a smoking pipe, I'm not sure, but yes, the smoking pipe is quite nicely sculpted and well painted. You can see a little bit of black and silver added to it. That's really nice. So the figure itself is very, very good. But to be fair, I do have some problems with it though. And the problems are one of the big setbacks of this figure, which kind of make it a little bit just meh. I think this figure is very good, but at the same time though, the problems are one of the biggest things that I worry about with this figure. This figure's articulation is very limited, and yes, I know that a lot of Spawn figures don't have many articulation, but the Pirate Spawn, the crew member Pirate Spawn, had a moving peg leg. This one really hasn't got that many moving joints that I can really think of, except for the fact that the arms can rotate the full 360 like so, which is very nice. And the only thing about this figure, though, is that he's stuck in this sort of have at thee pose, which is kind of boring, but what are you going to do? And, of course, the wrist articulation is as follows. The wrists can rotate the full 360, like that. And the biggest problem I have with the wrist as well is that, okay, this wrist is stuck in the gun holding pose, and this fist is stuck in the clenched fist sword holding pose, and this guy comes with two pistols. Wouldn't it have been better to make another hand that's similar to this, so that you can hold two pistols at the same time and be more swashbuckling? Just saying, I'm not sure if that was deliberate for the design of this figure, but it's one of the biggest things I have a problem with. And of course the legs have a moving joint which can swivel all the way around like that. And I was told the head moves around as well, but the thing is, if I move the head, this part of the bandana will snap off, and I really don't want to ruin that, so the head will stay as it is. But yeah, the articulation for this figure is quite basic, and rightfully so. This is one of those figures that is really not meant to be played with. Most Spawn figures really aren't meant to be played with, but this one is what it is, and it really can't do anything else other than just look really sort of heroic and really swashbuckling. But then again, it's a pirate, so what are you going to do? Now, with its accessories, it does come with a fair amount of accessories. It comes with 3 pistols, movable hat, and a cutlass. And looking at the pistols so far, these 2 pistols are very well painted. You can see the black, and I'm going to just zoom in. There we go. You can see the silver paint on this pistol right there, and on the right side as well, on the left and right side. The silver paint is very well established and very well carefully placed. The same on this pistol as well. So that's pretty good. The only problem though is this one. This is just your unfinished, lanky-looking pistol with not very much silver paint added to it. There's silver paint on this side, and on the top as well, but not on here. So there isn't any silver paint on this side and on the bottom of the gun. So I'm not sure why that is. Maybe the designer of this figure left that paint out on purpose, but again, who knows. And of course you can slot these little pistols into this gun holding hand right here. Now, there's a much easier way to do this without breaking the hand, because of course the hand is, as you can already see it, it's just holding the gun. It's in this gun holding form, and the best way to hold this gun, or the best way to slot these in, is in the guns. There are many holes, so which you can slot those in, and there you go. Slot those in carefully, and then slot that into the hand like so. And there you've got him holding the pistol. And of course, if you want these pistols not to get lost or anything, you can actually have these slotted into the holders to make sure they don't get lost. There we go. My other big complaint though with this figure is the scabbard. Now, the scabbard, of course, as a lot of people know, is where the sword is supposed to go. Well, the scabbard is sadly just a bit of molded plastic that hasn't really got any movement and really can't be used for anything other than just there for many different reasons. So this can't really go anywhere. This can only just go in the hand. And of course, the best way to really get rid of this sword is just have it out of the way. But this is supposed to go in the scabbard. So this needed a better scabbard, I think. This didn't need to be molded plastic. This really needed to be a scabbard. But of course, when it comes to slotting the sword into this hand, all you need to do is just take off this piece, which of course is on the bottom of the pommel, and lift that off, and then just move that bit aside, and then slot that into place. And be careful though, this is quite fragile. And then finally just take this little bit and then just slot it back into the pommel. And there you go. And of course the sword is, well, the cutlass is as follows. The blade is very nicely detailed. It has a little bit of, not sure if you can see a battle damage on it, which is pretty good. And it has this sort of saw look at the bottom. This cutlass is very nice, but the blade is very fragile, so be very careful with that. But of course the paint on this sword is very well done. The pommel, of course, is gold, and the blade is a nice silver. It would have been nice though if this had a little bit of blood on it to make it look like he was in a fight, but I guess what they were trying to go for is a very clean looking sword, which is it's fine, I guess. And finally, last but not least, you have the hat, which of course is just a pirate hat with a little gold with a gold feather and a skull. You can easily slot onto the head like so. And they pretty much have Pirate Spawn looking as badass as he possibly can be. And I would like to see this guy go head to head with Jack Sparrow. Just saying, because it would be kind of cool. But yeah, this is pretty much Pirate Spawn in all of his glory. I like this figure a lot, but at the same time, it does have some glaring flaws, and I really wish those were fixed, because those flaws, those minor flaws, didn't need to be on this figure. In fact, this figure is damn near perfect. But it's just those flaws that kind of set this figure back a little bit, and that's a real shame, because with this pistol not having much paint on it, and with the hands not being able to hold any other pistols, and with the limited articulation that this figure has, I would have liked to see this figure actually have a little bit more articulation, and in terms of movement, just actually be a little bit more playable. But then again, most Spawn figures aren't meant to be played with. This figure is very good as it is, I think. Despite its flaws, I'm able to let that go. And really, what else can you say about this figure? I like this figure a lot. It has its problems, but it's still pretty good. It's still a pretty good figure, and if you like pirates, I would strongly recommend getting this. And if you're a Spawn fan, yeah, you know where this is going. If you're a Spawn fan, if you're a pirate fan, get this figure, but just don't take my word for it if you think this figure looks crap, or is crap because of the minor flaws. It's still very good for what it is, but it's really not meant to be played with, so I wouldn't advise giving this to a small child, because there are fragile pieces on this figure, and it can break very easily. So anyway, yes, this has been the Spawn Series 34 Spawn Classics Part Spawn 2, and I'm Skullgrim140. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you all next time.